This is Susan Bassi, and I want to show you what it looks like to exercise your First Amendment rights and record in public these days.
I have a question. I need to file a police report about somebody who just attacked me.
Are you filming our parking lot?
I am filming it. I'm going into the police department to file a police report.
Okay. Why are you filming our lot? Because there's several personal vehicles here as well.
I didn't do anything wrong.
No, I didn't say you did. You didn't know what I was recording, did you?
Well, it looked like us.
It looked like you?
Yeah, because you pointed the camera directly at my face and at them. We just want to know
So
why.
because I pointed the camera at your face, you were concerned I was recording you. What were you concerned I would do with that recording?
Nothing. I just think that it's weird. Why is she recording me? What did I do
We're
today?
not doing anything wrong. If we see someone pointing a camera at us thinking they're recording, we're gonna get fucking mad when we didn't do anything wrong.
As we're growing accustomed to recording the police in public these days, police officers aren't necessarily growing more comfortable with being recorded. Neither are attorneys or other members of the public, because recording in public can mean that somebody can feel threatened or incited. And lawyers who are used to whispering in the ear of jurors, judges, and police officers can also be upset.
You're a nutcase.
And police officers who are being recorded may feel biased towards the people who are recording them, meaning they may not necessarily file a police report or testify in court as they should. This is the First District Court of Appeal in San Francisco. It's also the building where the California Supreme Court is housed. And this attorney is Garrett Daly. He's an appeal attorney, meaning he fixes the mistakes that are made in the lower courts. And he started his career out in the Elkins case, where he represented a father who could not afford to hire an attorney. And that father had a great deal of issues related to the court violating his rights. And Garrett Daly knows how to behave in the Court of Appeal, where he is polite and highly rewarded. He's also highly paid. But this is how Garrett Daly behaves outside the court.
Involved in this case today.
Okay. Well, nice to meet you.
Because you must know, you were just telling them that you thought it was corrupt down in Orange County with private judging, but you must know that Rule 2.818, none of you are complying with that. Do you want to talk about private judging? Because I really would like to talk.
After appearing to battle in court, Garrett Daly and attorney Keith Dolnick left the courthouse. They started talking about the corruption in Orange County. And I knew Keith Dolnick because I had been interviewing him for 3 years, and he never had a problem going on the record, sending me information or talking about his cases, especially cases involving private judging. But on that day, when I started to ask Garrett Daly some questions, Mr. Dolnick looked very uncomfortable. And in fact, I'm aware that Mr. Dolnick called one of his sources and told me not to report an incident to the police after this happened.
Mr. Daly, you make a lot of money. Oh, excuse me, that's assault? You don't have any right to do that, Mr. Daly.
We have up here, we have this
I'm sorry, did you just call me crazy? Mr. Daly, you just physically assaulted my iPad where I was filming you.
Attorneys are much like police officers. They are officers of the court. They are expected to tell the truth in public and in court. They are expected to set a certain example. And yet we continue to find that there are bad attorneys just as there are bad police officers. And that stands to corrupt the courts and to violate the public trust in the system, where these attorneys don't just represent clients to defend them, they also represent victims.
Take care.
In private judging, and you are continuing to make money. And Mr. Daly, you started your career in the Elkins case, representing pro-pers, and now you are involved in sanctioning people. You are involved in going after vexatious litigants like you did Diana Dong for Brad Bob.
In addition to private judging, we've been looking at the pattern of Garrett Daly's cases involving vexatious litigants. This is where attorneys are paid to have one party in a divorce case locked out of the courts and declared vexatious, meaning they can't file a motion or a lawsuit unless they hire an attorney or gain permission from the county's presiding judge.
Mr. Daly, are you aware of that? We can go all day long and I'll report you to the police for touching my camera. That was very un-appellate attorney-like conduct. Mr. Daly, you do not have a right to touch a photographer's video. You will be on YouTube by tomorrow. And I'm happy. Oh, good, you're going to the same level I am with my car. We can chat about this in the elevator. Mr. Daly, you just physically accosted me and my camera.
For the last 10 years, Garrett Daly has been one of the most well-respected attorneys in California. He's connected to judges and lawyers, and he prevents attorneys from being overturned on an appeal when they make mistakes. But it is not just his skill and the law that Garrett Daly relies on. He relies on abuse and discrediting and bad faith litigation tactics, meaning he doesn't always behave as we would expect an officer of the court to behave.
Is a nutcase?
You're a nutcase.
I'm a nutcase. Mr. Daly, none of your private judge cases are listed anywhere in any county in 27 counties in California. 27.
For the past 5 years, we've been making records requests to all the counties in California about these private judge cases, and we have found that these cases have been secreted, meaning they were not posted in the courthouse as the law requires, and therefore we couldn't determine the number of conflicts and the stream of income flowing to these attorneys in private judge cases. But last week, Santa Clara County announced that it would finally, based on our work, start posting these lists.
Right to pass, Mr. Daly? You are a licensed attorney.
Would you? Something will come in and protect me from this nutcase.
Oh, okay. Don't do that. That's not nice.
I'm sorry, we're in public, ma'am. This man is a highly controversial attorney.
Good call.
Okay, good call.
Mr. Garrett Daly teaches attorneys how to do private judging, and then he makes a lot of money on it. He just called me a nutcase because I'm investigating his cases. It's probably very uncomfortable for him.
Really, all of us, in fact.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable all around.
By the way, she's one of a group that does this.
Oh.
So she's not alone. She's part of a group that does this.
I'm part of the group. You'll be on YouTube. Susan Bassi is my channel. What group would that be, Mr. Daly? What group would that be? Mr. Daly, you have made millions of dollars off the misery of others, off inciting conflict. Do you have any comment to Diana Dong, to Violet Brooks, to all the people that you work with? And were you aware that Brad Baugh is now the subject of a civil conspiracy on a 17-14-10 case?
The whole community grieves.
Just like police officers and private attorneys, government attorneys, including prosecutors, don't like being recorded either, unless that recording involves a press conference with mainstream media, where they can control the questions and they can control what information is actually provided to the public. This is a press conference in Santa Clara County involving the district attorney's top DA, Jay Borski, and this is how he ran a press conference.
DA Jeff Rosen is in Alabama, Museum of Peace and Justice, also known as the Lynching Museum. So that's why I'm here.
This is Jay Borski, and he is the second most powerful prosecutor in Santa Clara County. But rather than prosecute crimes to deal with public safety, Jay Borski is more concerned with how his boss is being recorded with mainstream media and social media. He's in charge of all the propaganda that comes out of the DA's office. And here he is introducing Luis Ramos, who was a prosecutor who was very supportive of the district attorney's campaign, even willing to have his family photographed and put on the district attorney's Facebook pages in order to assure that he could collect more donations and stay in office.
We're here today for just two reasons. The first reason is to express our deep condolences for the loss of Bambi Larson
And this is how prosecutors manipulate the public and mainstream media. They know what to say about being tough on crime, and they pretend to empathize with victims and their families to gain community support. But more importantly, they are saying the words that will bias the media and the juries, so they are trying their cases in the media, and they are blocking questions that they know will make their office look bad. And this is exactly how they do that.
Critical of your office for giving a different standard for victims based on what you did in the San Martin rape case.
Ms. Bassi, as you know, you're charged with criminal offenses by our office, and it would be an ethical breach for me to have a conversation with someone who's charged with a crime here, so I can't have any conversation with you, Ms. Bassi.
Just as Garrett Jaley tried to discredit me by calling me nuts in an elevator in San Francisco, Jay Borski used a press conference to try to discredit me in front of other reporters. This is Sean Webby, the Public Information Officer for the DA, and just behind him is a DA investigator who has been watching me and who has filed declarations claiming that I am a danger and a threat to the DA, when he knows the only danger that I am are the questions that I ask and the records that I get that will expose his boss for what he is.
Mr. Borski, would you like to talk to me about the time that you called in on a radio show when Jeff Rosen was running for district attorney and tried to disguise your voice and pretend that you were a supporter of his?
Have we met?
No, would you like to meet?
Are you the infamous Susan Bassi?
I am Susan Bassi.
We've never met before.
No, we haven't. I have followed your career, though.
Thank you. No, I don't really want to speak to you.
You don't? Is there a reason for that? Would you support your boss even if you knew he was engaging in prosecutorial misconduct? Mr. Borski, would you support your boss?
And last week, we got an answer to our question. Because the Santa Clara County District Attorney, Jeff Rosen, used the criminal courts to try to chill speech by trying to take down my social media accounts that had reposted public records that showed the waste of public funds on that trip to Alabama, and the fact that the DA, J.A. Borski, was trying to get an HBO gig for his boss. And when I reposted those public records and the photographs that had been seen on the district attorney's political Facebook fundraising page, the DA's office has tried to get a criminal court to take down my social media accounts. And that's one more way that they try to chill speech and control the narrative. And so while it may seem like several law enforcement agencies across the state are not prosecuting serious crimes, we have to look at the culture and the individual biases of different police officers and how that may affect their police reports. We also have to address if law enforcement and prosecuting agencies are under-prosecuting serious crimes while over-prosecuting crimes such as recording in public, simply because they have a bias towards that themselves.
Oh, yeah, you sent it to me anyway. Thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciate it.
So we will continue to fight to bring transparency to our law enforcement agencies and our prosecuting offices, because how victims are treated as well as how defendants who are recording the police are treated matters. And it's important to assure that everyone's civil rights remain intact. And if we can't do that in San Francisco, we're probably going to have a hard time doing that just about anywhere else.